Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Today I am going to do a pearl pour. Say that fast 5 times. I'm doing a purple pearl pour. Start to finish, I wanted to show you the mixing and everything. Okay, getting started here. This is the pearl mixture that you put down on the canvas first. I want to give a shout out to Pieces of Tara. I'm sure you have seen her channel. She's a great artist, does very lovely pearls. So I got my some of my ideas from her and parts of the recipe as well. So check out her channel if you have a chance. What I just had flash up on the screen was what I exactly used for the pearl pour recipe. Okay, and so I'm going to put that down in the description as well, so I don't think you got to go back and stop it and write it down or anything. I'll put it in the description. This here is the little recipe that I used for the colors in the pour and the Dutch pour part. Boy, there's a lot of P's in this Dutch pour part. Purple pearl pour. I can't even say it anymore. Okay, so I'm silly this morning. Okay, here I'm mixing my colors up that I'm going to pour on top of the pearl cell recipe. But I just wanted to show you the mixing. Just when you're mixing these, just make sure they are super thin. I can't stress that enough. Because if they are not, especially that base layer, well, really both layers, but the base layer, I mean, it has to be super thin, and you have to stretch it a long way. You can't leave a lot on the canvas. So I'm mixing these colors up, and look at me. I held up my bottle thinking you guys could see that, or maybe you can if you're on a laptop. I don't know. So I decided I'd put the color name down so you can write it down or whatever if you need to. These are the colors that I used, that I poured on top of the pearl cell. I can't even say it anymore. The base layer, let's put it that way. This is the mixing of the colors that are going on top of that base. I used Diox purple, and then this Quinacrodone violet, and then a teal. And then on top of that, an iridescent gold. So I'm just mixing these with the recipe, which is, I used 75% floetrol to 25% GAC800. And it's very thin when you mix it. Well, the reason it's thin is because I mixed it with golden paints, the fluid paints, just so I wouldn't have to work as hard to get it thin. I don't use golden a lot, but it's perfect for these. I've just added a tiny bit of water to these colors. So just make sure when you lift it up to test and see how thick it is, make sure there's no mound. You can't have a mound, or your pearls are not going to come through. Just make sure they're super thin. So I'm just mixing them here. I only used, well, I used, let's see, 3 colors and then the iridescent gold on top. Sometimes I only put down 2 colors, but I don't know. I kind of wanted that teal in there for some reason. So I don't, as far as measuring how much golden fluid I put in there, I just don't measure it. I just kind of squirt it in. And then when I stir it, you can see what color you get from that. If it doesn't seem dark enough, you can just squirt a little more in. It's very high pigmented, so it doesn't take a lot. Thank goodness, because golden is not a cheap product, but they're great. Not dissing you, golden. So I just, wanted, like I said, I wanted you to be able to see the mixing part of it. And it really, this doesn't take a long time to do these pearl pours. They, when you put your base layer down, you obviously have to, or when you put both layers down, you have to wait for the pearls to start popping up, you know, before you do your Dutch pour part. Okay, so here I'm just finishing mixing my colors. And as you see, I was adding a little more water to it. I just get paranoid that it's going to be too thick. So sometimes I'll add a tad. It doesn't take much water with the golden fluid acrylics. So, all right, so I'm getting ready to lay the base layer down. And what I do, excuse me, when I mix up the pearl cell recipe, as you see, it looks like I'm just pouring some floetrol in the cup. Well, it's not that. It's actually my mixture of all of the different ingredients in the recipe for the pearl cell recipe. What I do beforehand, I just mix up. I have an empty floetrol jug and just mix up a good bit of the mixture together because it calls for a lot of different things. And then the next time I do a pearl cell pour, I'll already have my mix for the white. It's so simple and quick when you have that done. So you may want to do that. I'll always save some of my empty floetrol jugs so I can do things like that. So that way you don't have to mix all that stuff every time. Oh, I think here I'm mixing up the interference gold, yeah. I always pour that on top of the colors at the end. You'll see in just a minute I'm getting ready to get started. I just wanted to include this mixing part just so you could see. And I plan on doing a mixture, like a recipe video of other types of pours, just the mixing at some point. And I know I promised that, and I am going to do that very soon. Maybe this week or at the latest next week. And I will specify when I do it, you know, what this recipe was for, like if it's a recipe for Dutch pours or and etc. Okay, so here is finally I'm pouring the pearl cell recipe on there, and like I said, make sure it's super thin, and you want to just like move it around and make sure you cover the entire canvas. I just, you know, move it around and make sure all the edges get covered, and just be sure that you tilt off enough of it. Just because you cover it, if you still have a good bit on there, you may want to tilt off just a hair a bit more because you want it really thin before you pour your colors on. So that's what I'm doing here. Sometimes it takes a minute to get down there and get it all poured off. I think that's my last corner there. Yep. Yeah, I believe it is. And sometimes I'll just tilt it around a bit more just to make sure that I've, you know, tilted enough off. I don't know, I always get paranoid on these pearl pours, afraid I left too much on there, because if it's too thick, it just doesn't work and you'll have a screwed up painting. So just make sure you tilt enough of it off. All right, so there we go. Now I start adding my colors, and I just make puddles right in the middle. I always like to put the dark color first. And you can choose whatever colors you want. You know, I did one like this one in blue back when I first started the channel. I haven't done one since, so I thought I'd do purple. But you can choose any colors. It really doesn't matter. I would just suggest on the base to use a darker color first. So here I'm pouring the iridescent gold. And I think I had forgotten to put that teal that I mixed up. I was like, oh no. So I've just poured it on the sides over here, just to use a little bit of that, give it a little more color. And now just you start tilting. I just try to make sure the color covers every corner as much as possible. And I like to tilt off all the color, like, you know, when you go over the edge, just so it just only shows the white, which is the iridescent gold. Just make sure you put enough paint on there. I usually put way too much. Probably did. But I'd rather have too much than not enough. So now all the color is tilted off, and, you know, it still comes through once you can see it a little bit. Again, make sure you tilt enough off, and this part's really important because you cannot have a lot of this paint on your side, around the, you know, edges, really around any side of this canvas, because if you want the pearls to pop up all the way around, kind of like a frame, you have to make sure you tilt enough of this off. So I usually tilt it all around and cover it, and then I'll go to one side and then kind of pull it back. You know, whichever side I tilted on last, I'll pull it back towards the middle like I just did there to make sure that the sides have less paint than the middle. I'd rather have more in the middle since I'm going to do the Dutch pour design there. So, okay, so here, I think I cut the film, I edited it so you wouldn't have to wait for 20 minutes for the pearls to pop up, because it does take about that long. So I stopped it and started it again. You'll see in a second. There they are. I had waited a few minutes and then I turned the camera back on, just so you know, that kind of looks like a landscape, doesn't it? A mountain of such. I don't know, in a horizon. So then I started the Dutch pour part of it. I kind of did the same design, or I did do the same design as I did on the other one I did a few months back. I wasn't just going to make it come off like diagonally across from one side to the other, but the pearls were so pretty, I decided to just do something in the middle. So when I make a design like this, I don't use the hairdryer. I actually used a little a tube with a little, one of those 3D printer little attachments on the end. I believe I got it at the Paint Pour store, I believe it was, is the name of the site. They have a lot of cool things. You should check them out. I will put a link to their store in the description today. So these colors, I didn't even tell you. I put them in little squeeze bottles just to make it easy, so I wouldn't put too much, because when I dump out of a cup, it just never, especially with a design like this, it never works good. So I just put my leftover colors, you know, the puddle colors, into little bottles so I could do this design. Oh, there's my tube I was telling you about that I blow with for little intricate little details like this. So, and I just go around and kind of like a Dutch pour in a way, and just kind of blow the color out. And you can make any design you want with this. I just happen to like this little design for some reason, but anything will work. You know, whatever your favorites are. I thought the pearls looked really cool with the purple background. I have never done the purple before. It looks pretty cool. So here I'm just blowing it out, and I think I realized there it looked like I needed more purple. So you can, do it however you'd like. It just looked to me like I didn't have quite enough purple. I just wanted it to really stand out. So I just continued to blow this, and I tweaked it a bit, just to make it more even. My little design, it didn't look quite even at first, so I just would go back to certain areas and blow a little more, and just to make it look more even. I appreciate you guys joining me. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And if you really want to see all the videos, hit the notification bell so you won't miss not a one. So I continued to tweak this a little, and I let the video run for just a bit, but I didn't want to bore you too long. So you'll see in a minute the final result. Like I said, the only tweaking I did that I didn't include on here was just doing this right here, just blowing it around, trying to make my little circles more even. One looked smaller than the other, and so I was just trying to blow it out to make it look bigger on one side. So and here we go. The final look is coming up. Here it is. I just kind of made my circles a little more even. So I hope you like this, guys. Try it out and see if you do. Let me know. Leave me any comments or questions. Thank you so much for watching. All right, we'll have some new videos soon. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.